为度化天下无边无际的有情众生，速得无上正等觉圆满佛果。请大家发广大殊胜的菩提心，以及方便广大密诸神动机，并且如理如法的谛听。
Please listen to the teaching by cultivating the two aspects of supreme motivation, the vast intention of the Mahayana Bodhicitta, and the profound method of the secret mantra Vajrayana, so as to be able to liberate all sentient beings as limitless as space to the state of the unsurpassed Buddhahood.
好呀，那我们今天呢继续开始讲中观根本慧论之前呢我们在这个根本慧论里面的论文，然后呢前面的这个以及顶礼的部分呢我们已经讲完了。现在呢进入就是正论第一品，一共有27品里面的第一品就是观因缘品就是从这里开始。
So today we will continue on with the teaching of the root stanza of the middle way, the Mula Madhyamaka. Up to last week, or the last class meeting, we have completed the teaching on the homage verses. So today we will begin with the actual treatises, which include 27 chapters. And today we will begin with the first chapter called An Examination of Conditions.
好，然后呢，在这个因缘品里面呢，第一个，首先我们就开始这个破叫做四边就是破四边。破四边是什么呢？主要就是破这个四生自生、他生就是共生以及无因生就是这个四种。
So to begin the examination, there are what's referred to as the four extremes to be refuted. So the chapter will begin by refuting the four types or the four extremes of productions, things coming into beings.
那为什么我们要破这个四生，要破这个四边呢？这也是因为众生的执着那我们众生呢就是执着于自生，有些呢执着于他生，有些呢执着于就是自他共生，然后呢有些是执着是无因生所以就是种种不一样的执着就是有了这些执着之后呢，所以去众生就是流转轮回所以呢就必须要破弃这些执着，所以呢必须就是有从这个生自四生开始破起。
And the reason for refuting the four types or the four extremes of production is because how sentient beings has come into being or come into existence based on their own attachment, some inherent and some established based on the mental construct. So in case of the mental constructs that they have created since their existence, many of them believe that they were born into this world by itself. So there's this notion of things coming into being by itself or from itself. And the second type would be not from something else. So things coming into being or being produced from something else, something other than themselves. And the third extreme is to coming into being from both. So things were produced by the combination of self and others. And lastly, there are this notion of being held by sentient beings who believe that things come into existence without a cause. So in order to refute all these four arguments or four types of beliefs, there's this need to refute all these four extremes that has been established by sentient beings.
那我们上次在顶礼的部分是讲了这个八系这个时候呢就是主要它的针对是什么呢？针对是具生的执着具生的执着然后在这个时候破四边的时候，它主要是针对的什么呢？就是主要是针对的是遍计的执着 所以呢，它两个的针对性是不一样的。
So if you remember, in the last teachings, we have talked about the 8 extremes. So those are mostly associated with sentient beings' connate or innate or inherent attachment. So meaning the sense of attachment that they inherently have since they were born without, educated. So they were born with these type of inherent attachment. And that can be explained by the 4 extremes that we mentioned in our last class meetings. And the 4 extreme, however, can explain the type of attachment that are based on the mental construct. So learned ideation. So things come into belief based on how we were educated, growing up, or some things that we learn, we come into believe in.
那这里说，诸法不自生，亦不从他生，不共，不无因，是故知无生就是这4句这个就是在驳斥这个四生的4句，就是这个。
So the verses Nagarjuna has composed to refute these 4 extremes is as follows. Not from itself and not from something else, not from both and not without a cause, does anything, whatever, anywhere, at any given time arise.
那在这里龙树菩萨就在这里立了这个宗立了宗，就是他就是把这个生就全部包括在这个4个里面了就是要不然的话就是承认的是自生，要不然的话就是他生，要不然的话是共生，要不然就是无因生。这个就是包括呢我们内教就是佛教徒，或者是就是非佛教徒外道的所有的观念就是全部包括在这个里面了。只要把这个4生破了，那就所有的都破掉了就所以呢就是不用再立更多的，如果是更多也没有必要，然后更少也没有办法包括，所以呢就这个4生就是变成就是主要的我们执着的对境，就是这样。
So with this verse, Nagarjuna actually has established the proposition, the 4 proposition, or drawing 4 conclusion by refuting the 4 extremes. So really stating that things do not come into existence from itself, nor from something else, not from both and not without a cause. So these are the 4 types of productions that cannot really explain the arising of phenomena. So, and these 4 extremes are the totality of the belief system that are either held by the Buddhist or non-Buddhist. So whatever human being can think of to try to make an effort to explain the coming into existence, the theory of phenomena are all included in the 4 types of extremes. So by refuting these 4 type of productions, then it stands to reason that none of these conditions can explain the nature of phenomena.
然后这里说为什么我们要破除这个4边呢？因为我们就是上一堂课里面也讲了，众生的执着就是分成2种，在这个2种里面就是包括了众生的所有的执着，一种是具生的执着，一种是遍计的执着。那我们具生的执着，我们就是上一堂课里面里面就是主要是针对这个具生的执着，但是呢这里呢就是主要是针对遍计的执着，所以呢我们要遣除掉或者破掉这个执着，所以呢我们必须就是要在这里讲这个4生的部分4生。
So again, why do we need to refute these 4 theories of productions, or 4 types of belief in how things comes into existence? We mentioned in the last class, again, sentient beings have 2 types of attachment. One is the inherent attachment the attachment that we were born with that does not require education. And that has been explained to you in our last class meeting. And the part where we're going to refute the 4 types of productions has to do with the attachment based on our mental construct, so our belief system from our education, from our learning. So in order to give rise to the correct understanding, we have to refute and deconstruct our belief. Therefore, there's this need to refute the common belief of the way things comes into existence.
那首先我们要破持的这个对境，首先是自生的对境。那谁是承认一切法是自生的呢？就是数人外道啊，数人外道他们的见解就是一切法，他们都说是承认是自生的啊，所以这个是数人外道的见解，他们的观念，他们的执着啊是这样的啊，这是自生，所以呢，就是首先要破除这一个。然后第二个是他生的见解是谁呢？就是内教佛教徒里面的有部、经部以及唯识宗啊，这个3种啊，这个宗派呢，他们执着于一切法是他生的啊。然后呢，就是裸行外道啊，这个裸行外道的话，他认为啊，自生说自生也有这个缺点，然后呢说他生也有缺点，然后他就说我就承认自他共生啊，所以呢他的观点就是自他共生啊，就是裸行外道的观念啊。然后呢就另外一个就是说顺势外道，顺势外道他承认的是什么呢？他承认的就是无因生啊，就是完全不承认这个因果，没有这个因果前世后世。但是呢，顺势外道里面也有2种，一种的话，它是连现在我们所看得到的种下的种子，然后呢出现的这个苗芽这样的因果，它都不承认啊，它都完全不承认所有的因果的。但是呢，有一批啊，这个顺势外道呢，他就是承认说是这个前世、今世、前世、后世，他不承认。但是呢，我们一般的世间上的就是这个因果，他承认啊。所以呢，就是顺势外道的话有2派这样。
So now let's look at the object of our refutation. So first, the 4 types of production that was held by both Buddhist and non-Buddhist. So beginning by the first one, refutation of production from self. So refuting the ideation of things are produced from itself or from themselves. And these type of beliefs were held by what's being referred to as the Samkhya school of Hindu philosophy. So in mundane language, they are also known as the enumerationist. So these are the population who has deeply believe in the fact that things produce from themselves. So that's the first type of extreme out of the 4. And the second ideation is to hold that things are produced from others. So these type of beliefs were held by Buddhist believers. So they include Sabbhativada, Sutravadin, and Yogacara schools. So these are the school that holds the belief that the validity of production from others. And the third types of belief address the population who believe in production from both, so from both self and others. And these were held by what's referred to as the Nirgranta population. And these are a sect of Jainism. They simply see the flaws in the belief in production from self and production from others. So they just try to kind of be conclusive from things that are aside from these two cases. So everything that has come into being should be produced by self and others, so the combination of the two. The fourth belief system, or the fourth ideation, is the production without a cause. So these are held by lokayatika, so materialists. So they only believe in what they see. So that means they don't believe the laws of causality. They disregard the phenomena of reincarnation, so they don't believe in past life, future lives, and present lives. And to be more specific, these type of people can generally be categorized into two. One group doesn't even believe in the relationships between sea, that's sprouting into something else. So they don't see or acknowledge the causality between the sea and the sprout. And another type of materialists, they simply don't believe in the past lives or future lives. They only believed in the observable cause and effect within this life. Again, that's something they can observe with their own eyes.
然后还有一些外道呢，就是承认万能神所创造一切世间以及情器世界全部都是万能神就像如大自在派，以前古印度的话有一个叫做外道里面有一个叫做大自在派，他们承认的就是万能神神制造了一切所以就是这样的。所以呢，这些都是就是可以这些不管他们承认怎么样，如果是生，我们就是可以全部包括在自他共无这四生里面就可以了。除此之外呢，我们比如说是这下面有讲到具生的无明执着，如果是让他们我们所说生是怎么样的话，也可以包括在这个四生里面就是说普通的人没有经过学任何的这个经论或者其他的宗派这样的人的话，他们虽然没有什么真正的就是明确的观点，说这是自生那是他生这样的观念，但是如果是你让他讲这个生到底是自生还是他生的时候，他只能就是在这个四个里面选一个而已，再没有什么别的选择。所以呢，这也包括了就是这些具生的执着这样。
So, other than these four types of beliefs, there are also line of thinking that believes that this all-creating God has created this world. Animate and inanimate worlds are both created by this all-creating God. And this sect is called the Maheswara. So Maheswara is the name of the God, and the follower of that believe that this world, the animate or inanimate world, are created by the god called Maheswara. But if you look at their belief system, it can still be included in one of the four types of production. Even if you were to ask someone from the level of the inherent attachment, so this ignorance based on the inherent attachment, if you were to ask any one of them, that means that these are the type of people who were never exposed in any kind of learning. They have no notion of what kind of theories are out there, just completely uneducated beings. If you were to ask these type of people, they can come up with some theory of themselves, but they can still fall in within the category of these four. So they can't be asserting anything outside of these four. So these four pretty much can explain all the possible theories about the worldview.
那这样的话，就是现在上面呢，这个就是已经立了这个四种宗 就是这个。那这个立了这个4种宗以后呢，就是要破除这些观点的话，以什么样的方式要破除他们呢？这里就是有一个破这个观点的一个推理的一个方法。这个推理的方法是非常重要的。这个推理的方法呢，我们所说的这里有一个叫做，首先我们要知道所破，然后能破以及破的理由这个3个。这里一般的很多的这个中观里面没有讲的这么清楚，这里呢慈诚罗珠堪布讲的非常的仔细，所以我希望大家就是在这里多花一点时间仔细的看一下，这样的话如果是你懂了这个的话就比较容易了所以呢这里就我们仔细的来解释一下这个能破就所破以及破的理由，到底这些什么样的关系，然后它是什么样的方式来破的这样。
So now you see the 4 proposition or the refutation to refute the 4 types of erroneous beliefs, and how was the refutation delivered. So on the part of the reasoning, we have to first kind of structure our learning by looking at or looking for information for the refutation and what's to be refuted, and what are the process of the reasoning in order to reach that conclusion. So these 3 parts will help you along the way in reading Khenchen's treatises and trying to explain how Nagarjuna has come to this conclusion by refuting the 4 erroneous beliefs. So, first knowing what are the refutation and what is to be refuted, and then the process of reasoning to draw to the conclusion. So there's really very detailed explanation given by Khenchen. So I would strongly urge you to read these texts and reflect over it, reflect on it over and over again to really fully understand what Khenchen is trying to explain.
这里他举了一个例子，就是说，比如射箭时，首先要知道用什么样的箭，然后呢，在对箭了解之后，就要认清所射的目标就是靶子，然后呢，最后还要通晓用什么样的方式去射中这个靶子，这3者知道后，射箭才会有把握。同样的，如果能了知能破所破与破齿的方法，中观的推理方法也就了解了所以呢，就是这个3种呢，就是很重要了。
So an example was given to kind of illuminate on why it is so important to, look at or to analyze the refutation and what is to be refuted, and the method of reasoning is like, shooting an arrow. So when you're practicing archery, the first thing you want to find out is what type of arrow are you going to be using, right? You're going to be using the type that's, going to help you deliver your practice. So once you are done or can come to certainty about having a good enough arrow, then you're going to then analyze the target. How far is it away from you? How do you position yourself, right? So then that goes to the technique. So the method that will help you to hit the target, right? So this example really kind of is an analogy of identifying what is the refutation and what are you trying to refute on, and the method of refuting, right, or the method of reasoning. So it is being illuminated by this example.
所以呢，我们 要知道为什么要破除这些，就是为了我们要证悟空性，要了解空性。为什么要了解空性呢？因为我们希求解脱啊，这个就是目的。如果是要希求解脱的话，我们必须得证悟空性。这里说，不管是大乘或是小乘的，要希求解脱就必须证悟空性。比如说要证到阿罗汉的果位，你要知道空性，人无我。啊，等等的，就是这样各种各样的，这个空性它的层次上不一样而已。但是呢，必须得证悟空性。所以呢，我们要在这里用推理的方式，用理论的方式来达到这个空性的话，我们就是它的目的就是这样的。
And then also to really acknowledge the purpose of this type of reasoning, because you want to be liberated, and in order for you to liberate yourself, you have to realize emptiness. And this is the one good way to help you realize emptiness is by refuting, or by practicing inference, by analyzing. So regardless of the practice from Hinayana or Mahayana school, the ultimate purpose or ultimate aim is to realize emptiness. Even for Hinayana practitioners, they're aiming to realize the emptiness of themselves. So emptiness of self. So that too requires the realization or the knowledge of what emptiness means.
然后证悟空性的方法呢有很多种，显宗的方法、密宗的方法、大圆满的方法。那显宗的方法就是中观的这个推理方式啊，用理论来证悟空，来证得空性。密宗的话就是修七脉明点大圆满的话就是上师的诀窍这样等等的。所以现在中观这个部分就是属于显宗的部分，所以我们就是依靠推理的方式来了解这个空性这样。
So if you look at the context where you can exert yourself in the practice in order to reach the aim of realizing emptiness, in the context of the vehicle of characteristics, or the sutric path, so to speak, is through analyzing and learning and realizing Madhyamaka. In the context of the tantric tradition or training, then you would do so by practicing the Tsalung Tigli, or it's the wind, channel, and bindu, essential fluid. So that would be the way to realize emptiness within the context of the tantric training. So if you are to exert yourself in Dzogchen in order to realize emptiness, then you will require pith instructions. So really getting that essential instruction, pointing out instructions from your guru. So these are the ways to realize emptiness within different context.
所以呢，有时候有些人说我就不需要学习中观就直接修大圆满，因为大圆满里面也就可以直接证悟了。当然这是没有错的，在大圆满里面呢，你不需要学习任何的理论推理的方式，可以直接证悟的。但是呢，这个就是要看自己的根基了。如果是自己的是一个上等根基的人，然后呢也遇到了真正的具象的证悟的上师，这样的话是完全没有问题的就是不需要学习任何的中观的这些推理，然后就这些空性也可以直接证悟大圆满的。但是呢，自己的根基不是那样的话，如果是在之前还没有学习大圆满之前，以中观的方式来推理的方式，对空性有一定的就是了解，这样的话以后证悟大圆满上来会更有帮助。这样。
So some of you may think, well, in this case, I may, might as well just skip the learning of Madhyamaka and go straight to the approach of the Dzogchen. Then I would say yes, if given the perfect condition where you are a suitable caliber and you encounter a qualified teacher who can give you this powerful and poignant pith instructions, then yes, you have the perfect condition to pursue emptiness that way. However, if you're not a suitable caliber, or you don't encounter a qualified teacher, then you're missing the qualification or criteria in order to help you achieve that level of realization. So in that case, the safest way is to really exert yourself in learning Madhyamaka, using the approach of analyzing, practicing inference and deducting reasoning and all that in order to help you really truly understand what emptiness means and realize it. And that alone will also help you or contribute to your success, future success in Dzogchen practices.
然后接下来呢，我们就是正式的进行这个推理的这个方法。那首先呢，在中观映衬派和秩序派共许的共同的就是这个推理的方式呢，有个4大理由或是4大因，然后其中有一个那再细分的话，一共是5大因或是5大理由这样。那这里面的话，就是其中一个叫做金刚泻因。这个金刚泻因，这个就是推理的5种推理方法里面的其中一个，专门就是抉择这个因的部分的一个逻辑推理的方法的名字，叫做金刚泻因。
So the common logical arguments held by the greater sense of Madhyamaka, or to be specific, both Prasangika and Sotantrika schools, are what's referred to as the 4 great logical arguments. And one of the most important one is the investigation of the cause, which is called the diamond splinters.
那这个金刚泻因的推理方式在这里呢，就是很明显的，我们就是在这里这个破4边的时候的话，就是因为是我们所说的是生嘛，生的话，我们明显的必须要观察它的因呢，是用什么样的因来生这个果所以呢，就是很明显就知道这里就要抉择的就是它的因是怎么来的。我们一般的人的话，他就是只看到果，他根本不去研究它是怎么样来的，它因是怎么样的不去的。但是智者们他看到果的时候，他就会去观察或者去抉择，这个果是到底什么样的因制造了这样的果，他会去抉择前面的这个部分。那这里呢，首先就是观察的就是自生的部分。那前面我们讲了4生里面，就是诸法不自生就是现在呢，以第一句自生的部分呢进行观察抉择。
So then we will be using the diamond splinters to refute the production from 4 extremes. And first of all, we're going to refute the production from self. And normally, this is the type of logical argument that really focuses on justification or the cause. When you try to derive any certain type of conclusion, you want to really look carefully at the justification. So, wise men, when they look at a result of something, they usually question how did it come to be like this. They usually questions the cause, so they want to know the justification of things. Unlike untrained or unlearned people, they don't really think that deeply. So it's very important for us to be looking at the cause or the justification of a logical arguments.
接下来呢，这个推理方法呢，它有一个叫做3项推理方法。这个3项推理方法呢，它就是第一项是什么呢？叫做因。第2项呢，就是说叫什么呢？就是同品周边。第3个呢，叫做异品周边。所以在这一个完整的或者是圆满的这个推理方法里面呢，就是你必须具足这3项 如果是具足了这3项的话，它就是一个完整的这个推理方法。所以这个推出来的东西的话，就是完全是正确的。如果是不具备这3个条件，那就推理出来的东西的话，它就是不正确所以呢，这3项具备的时候，推理出来的东西它就是正确的。所以呢，我们首先要学习这3项推理是怎么样的一个推理方法，它是要具备什么样的条件，这样。
So in order to draw your refutation or deliver your refutation and draw a conclusion or make any valid argument, you have to do so by what's called 3 modes of reasoning. And these 3 modes of reasonings include justification. So that's the first mode. And the second mode is, I did some research and try to find the closest equivalence to the modern day, philosophy, when it comes to inference or reasoning. The thing I can find is what's called modus ponens. And what it means is inference by affirming. And the third mode of reasoning is modus tollens. And what it means is inference by negation. So if you can argue or try to prove a proposition with all 3 modes of reasoning, then you can say that you can, make a valid argument. If not, then it will be invalid. The argument would be invalid. So it has to pass through the 3 modes of reasonings.
好，接下来呢，我们在这里就是举了一些例子首先呢，我们就是诸法不自生以这个来做这个3项的推理。这里说诸法不自生，以有故，如明显品，这个就是一个完整的3项推理。那在这个句子里面，怎么样具备了这3个推理呢？首先在这里我们所说的诸法不自生，诸法是什么呢？诸法就是力的宗就是我们要讨论的那个主题。讨论的主题是什么？这里讨论的主题就是这个诸法。然后在这里讲的不自生是什么呢？就是在这里讲用这个这里讲的话，就是佛法里面讲，就是所立的法。所立的法是什么呢？也就是说，你提出了你对诸法的观念，你的观点是什么？我的观点就是诸法都是不自生的，这个就是我的观点。然后第3个就是说以有故，以有故的意思是什么呢？就是你的理由。你说诸法不自生，那你的理由是什么？你有什么理由说诸法不是自生的呢？他的理由是什么呢？他已经有了，所以诸法不是自生的，已经存在的东西它不是自生的，这是他的理由。然后呢，他的比喻是什么呢？如明显品，一个瓶子很明显你可以看到的一个瓶子就像一个明显的瓶子一样，它已经存在了，所以它不会再自生了，它不会再生了，它已经存在，它已经是个明显的瓶子，所以它不会再自生了如明显品，这个就是一个完整的具有3项的这个推理方法。
So here Kenshin gave an example. The verses of this example is, phenomena do not arise from themselves, for they already exist. So here the proposition has been established by claiming that phenomena do not arise from themselves, or they do not self-produce, right? So that's the proposition. And the focus of this proposition would be the phenomena. You're talking about the phenomena, so that would be the subject matter. And how do we lead to, through reasoning, how do we lead to conclusion to assert that phenomena do not arise from themselves? And the justification given here is because they already exist. right? So then using an example of a visible vase, so we can all see a vase that's there. It's existing right there, sitting on the table or whatnot. There is a visible vase right there. This vase cannot give rise to another vase. And this can be proven by the fact that this vase already exists, so there can be a second vase, produced by that vase that's already existing. So that's the argument, cover the three modes of reasoning. So you're establishing the proposition, and then you offer the justification, and then you use a proof or example, observable experiment or experience to prove your own proposition. So this is what this example is about.
然后在这里，大家要注意的一个就是，已有故，已经存在的东西它不会自生，这是在数人外道跟中观的两个方面，他们都是承认的。如果是要产生或者要生的一个东西是没有的一个东西，然后再生而已。如果已经有的东西，它就不会再生了。如果有的东西再生的话，它就有很多过失，它就是有无穷尽的过失，是无功德或者无意义的过失。这是怎么说呢？比如说，我们有一个茶杯，它已经存在了，就不用再制造了，它已经在了，就不用再生了。如果是没有这个茶杯的话，就要造一个茶杯是没有的，造成有；已经有的你就不用再造有了。如果是有的再造的话，就是无穷无尽的，也就是没有任何的意义和功德。所以这里说已有故，这是就是你跟辩论的对方跟自己双方都是承认的，已经有的东西它是不会再生了。所以这个是非常重要的一个观点。所以呢，在这里说已经有了，所以诸法不自生了，诸法就是不自生，所以就直接驳斥了这个数人外道的观点。
So here, actually, both the enumerationist and scholars of Madhyamaka, they both acknowledge the fact that what's already existing would not reproduce themselves. So unless it's something that was not previously existing. For example, you use clay to mold and produce a cup. So yes, in that case, this cup was not previously existed, so it gets produced. However, for when a cup is now produced, it will not reproduce itself. Otherwise, this will create the flaws of phenomena being, just proliferating inexhaustibly, and that will lead to, pointlessness or meaninglessness of the existence. So, unless this was not previously not existing, once it was produced, it will not reproduce by itself or reproduce itself. So at least this part was acknowledged by both. However, this is what the enumerationist hold in their belief, that things produce from themselves.
然后呢，在这里这一个推理的完整的推理里面呢，已有故，这叫做因。因的意思是什么呢？就是理由。所以呢，这个就是三项推理里面的第一项，已有故这个就是它的这个三项里面的第一项，它就是能力的之因，能力之因，它就是三项推理里面的第一个，这叫做因它这里面就具备了这个因。要具备这个因的话，是我们首先简单讲就是因好了。然后第二个就是同品周边，第二个叫做同品周边，三项里面第二个就是同品周边。同品周边是什么意思呢？同品周边的话，就是如果是有的法它就是不自生的； 如果是自生的，如果是不自生的法，它就是有的法，这两个是相同的，这叫做同品周边。同品周边，下面我再继续，它这里有详细的，就是大致上是这样的。然后异品周边是什么？那个异品周边是什么呢？异品周边就是说，如果法若非彼，则因便非彼。意思就是什么呢？意思就是，如果是我们所说的，已有故的相反的是什么？已有故的相反就是没有的东西嘛。然后没有的东西，就它的相称的是什么呢？相称的就是自身嘛。前面是有的东西的相对的，跟它同一样的就是不自身。就是这两个同异品周边就是这样的。那下面我们来仔细的继续分析这样。
So here, in order to justify or assert the proposition stating that phenomena do not arise from themselves, then the justification given here is they already exist. Because they already exist, therefore they do not self-reproduce. So the fact that they already exist is the justification here, and that's also the one of the first of the three mode of reasoning. So now let's look at the second mode of reasoning, which is inference by affirming. So this, just by the meaning, is in a conditional proposition. If the antecedent is affirmed, then the consequent is thereby affirmed. So in this case, using the same example, which we also kind of explained earlier, is that for things that already exist, they do not reproduce themselves. So what is produced, then it means that it was not previously existing. So it's kind of very similar to the logical grammar that we learned before about, if A, then B, if not A, then not B. So using that, logical formula to understand what it really means by the second mode of reasoning. And the third mode of reasoning would be, just using more understandable formula that we all know is all A is B, then all not B is not A. So using inference by negation. So you're using a negative example to attest to the fact that the hypothesis was not valid by itself.
OK， 然后接下来呢，这里大家根据这个堪布的这个讲义，大家看哈，首先观察第一项因第一项这个因，那这里观察什么呢？就是刚刚之前我们讲了嘛，诸法不自生，已有故，如明显品。这里讲的时候，我们首先要观察第一项因成不成立。因成不成立，就是要看这个已有故能否成立。如果这个成立了，它的因就成立了；如果这个不成立，你三项推理的方式里面的第一个因就不成立了。如果因不成立的话，你这个三项就已经没有办法推出任何的合理性的一个东西了。所以首先要观察因成不成立，这样。
So when we look at the first mode of reasoning, which is justification. So you want to see whether your justification is valid, is a valid claim. So with our example, we are arguing that phenomena do not arise from themselves because they already exist, right? So things will not reproduce themselves had they already exist. So the justification here is that they already exist. So if you can prove that that's a valid statement, then you can proceed to analyze the next two modes of reasoning in order to prove that argument.
然后呢，在这里数人外道，他们承认的自身是，他们承认是因和果是一体的，因果是一体的。记住哈，这一个因和果是一体的话，那他们承认的就是说，在因的时候，它果就已经存在，只是不明显而已，它已经存在，所以呢，他承认因和果是一体的。所以，当他承认因和果是一体的时候呢，他已经承认了。它的因是明显的，因是存在的。如果当他已经承认了因是存在的时候的话，上面这个推理方式里面以有故就成立了，第一项已经成立了。这样听得懂吗？比较难啊。
你说因果一体哈，同时存在，所以
因为数人外道他说因和果，他承认是一体，然后呢，他因跟果承认它是一体，然后呢，他承认因是明显的存在的，然后呢，果呢虽然存在，但是只是看不到而已，它还是存在的。他这样的一个观念，他说存在，所以当他承认因果是一体的时候呢，那我们的这个推论就那个以有故就已经成立了，因为他因已经有了嘛，所以他不管他说是这个他的果明显不明显都没有关系，因为他承认已经因跟果是一体的，而且是存在的，所以这个已经就成立了，第一项因就在他面前成立了，所以这个推理就是完全可以驳斥他了。诸法不自生，就是直接跟那个外道说不自生了，为什么呢？已经有故嘛，你也承认已经有了，所以这个第一项的因就已经成立了。你看他这里说，如果因不成立，那么前面的因就是是因，就是假的因了，所以那就没有办法，我们所说的以有故就没有办法成立了。但是因成立了，所以呢，三项中的第一项已经成立就是这个意思。
三项中的第一项成立，但是你还没有完全破斥数论外道的观点。
还没有，就这里在说三项一个一个的成立是怎么样成立的。
对。Okay, so in order to refute production from self, again, we will be looking at the three mode of reasoning. So using an example that was held by the enumerationists, where they believe that cause and effect are one and the same, so they exist at the same time. So then, if you apply this thinking with this reasoning, then you can argue that, the enumerationist argues that the cause, in the case of clay that will be made into cups, so the cause is the clay, and the clay is, apparently existing at the time of the cause. So even though it has not yet been made into cups, so at this time we don't see the result, which is the cups, right? But the cause is there, the clay is there. That means that it fits the first mode of reasoning with the justification, because the cause is actually existing. Is that clear?
然后你们在读这个的时候，你看，这里说。泥土为因，瓶子为果，这个就是直接在讲数论外道的观念。他们制造瓶子的泥土呢，他就说这个是因，然后呢，当瓶子制造好了，这就是果，他们的因果，他们这样承认的。因成立则果已经应该成立。然后就这里说，如果因不成立，这里指的如果因不成立，就是指的是泥土。 OK， 如果你不知道这个，这下面你就懂不了这一句话。说如果因不成立，它指的这是泥土。如果是泥土都不成立的话，那我们三项中的这个推理就在它面前就没有办法没有办法推理了。但是呢，它的因泥土是成立的，所以呢，这里说我们这样的推理方式呢，在数论外道面前，就是第一项因是已经成立了，是这个意思。
So to further elaborate on why the justification part is considered valid, is because for enumerationists they believe that the clay is the cause and the cup is the result. So if there is this clay that's already existing, then there will be the result of cup. However, if there's no clay, or when the cause for any reason is not valid, or the existence of the clay isn't there, so that means that the justification is not a valid justification, because there's no clay, and that will not lead to further analysis based on the three mode of reasoning. So there has to be a cause, there has to be a valid cause, which is the existence of the clay.
所以这个就是在他们面前第一项就是因的部分已经成立了。然后观察第二项，就是同品周边的部分。同品周边的意思是什么呢？同品周边这里就说康波这里讲了一下，就是数论外道他们的观念明显品不明显品，这个他们就是刚刚我讲的那样，就是这样。他们以为就说明显的品质就是果，不明显的品它也是果，但是那个果还没有呈现，所以呢它是在泥土里面是存在的所以这是他们的观念。那在这里，但他们还没有承认非明显的品质不生，但是呢他们说明显的品质是没有错了，它已经存在，它不会再生了，但是呢非明显的品质它会生他的观念就是这个所以呢他说非明显的品质它是会生的，因为他的观念是这样
So then moving on to the second mode of reasoning, which is inference by affirming, we are trying to affirm the case, using the case of the clay and cup. So with an invisible cup, that means the cup has already been made from the clay, right? So there's the result. But then there's also the invisible cup. That means a cup that hasn't been made into a cup yet. But then that's also considered the result. It's just not visible yet. So the enumerationists, they believe in these two types of result from the cause. One is visible, the other is not visible yet. So even though they acknowledge the fact that the visible cup will not reproduce itself, however, they believe that the result is already there, even though it's invisible at this present time. It's just not being made yet. But then they see that as the result from the cause.
但是呢，虽然他们就是分了一个说，一个是明显的品，一个是不明显的品，但是他们承认两个都是有的嘛，已经有了所以呢，只要他承认已经是有的，那这个他就没有办法驳斥了。这里下面继续观察，他们说，那这个就是现在呢，就是怎么样来成立我们怎么样才知道这个同品周边在这个里面是成立的呢？因为所有的法可以把它都包括在这个有为法和无为法里面，大家都知道吗？上次我们也讲过有为法、无为法。然后呢，在有为法里面的话，有为法里面的一切就已经存在的法，它不会再自生了，不会再生了。这个就是同品的部分。然后没有的法或是会自生的法，这就是异品，就是跟这个完全相反的，这就是异品周边的所以呢，在一切有为法和无为法之间，如果是你能够找到一个已经有的法 然后也是将升起，也是会将生的这个法的话，那这个同品周边就不成立了。但是我们找不到，所以你当找不到这个的时候，同品周边就是成立了。所以这个就是一个第二项同品周边的这个成立就是这样的。如果是你在这个不管是有为法或是无为法里面已经存在的一个法，但是呢也会将升起的一个法，如果你能够找到这样，那上面这个推理法里面的第二项它就没办法成立。但是如果你找不到的话，它就成立了。
So to further look at, to make the inference by affirming complete, you want to further look at the case of the visible result and the case of invisible result in the context of the phenomenal world, not just the cups or clay. So in this case, the compounded phenomena are what's already existing, right? Things that are observable by our eyes. So those are compounded phenomena. So all that has already come into being, coming into existence, will not reproduce themselves. So if you can keep looking for example within this assertion, then that means you have proven the validity of the inference. And another way to make the argument more complete is to look for an opposite examples. So what's already existing will not reproduce, but what about things that reproduce themselves? Are there things that reproduce by themselves? If you are able to find any example of things that reproduce by themselves, then you can really, attest to this argument to make this argument valid. However, we cannot find things that reproduce by itself. Therefore, that make this inference by affirming, or that makes the argument or the proposition that was believed by the enumerationist invalid. So what they believe at this point has proven invalid.
然后我们就是来看第三项，观察第三项异品周边。在推理异品周边的时候呢，那这里你们看这里重要的这几个字哈，如果不是无生，就应该是生。这个就跟上面的是我们讲的诸法不自生的那个的相反，对不对？如果是不自生就是生嘛。OK， 这是一个。如果是生，则全部不是已经有的法。这样清楚了吗？刚刚上面说是诸法不自生，已有故，他说已经有了，所以这里说如果是生的法的话，则全部不是已经有的法。不是已经有的法才会生，如果已经有的法，它就不再生了。所以呢，这里就是这个，你就可以成立了第三项异品周边。所以你看刚刚说诸法不自生，已有故，如明显品。那这里异品周边就是已经有的法，它就不会自生了。但是已没有的法，它会自生，这是通的，跟前面那个是通的，所以这就是异品周边。
跟前面什么通啊？
前面就是不自生的相反就是生嘛。OK， 然后就是已有故的相反就是没有的嘛，意思就是说没有的它才会生嘛。
So going into the third mode of reasoning to make this argument complete or valid or invalid, is once again coming back to this proposition. Phenomena do not rise from itself because they already exist, right? So we already, up to this point, we already established that what's already existing will not reproduce themselves, right, or itself. However, if things get produced, that means it was not previously existing or existent. So using the inference by negation, so once again, I would urge you to, try to understand it from the formula that we're more familiar with from our, childhood education. All A is B, and using all not B is not A. So it's the same logical, component in this syntax. So all that can be produced is not previously existing, right? So if previously existing, then I lost my train of thought. Then it did not exist before. So I hope this is clear. That will be an example of inference by negation.
OK， 那下面有一个比较简单的例子，大家翻到40，可能页数不一样。接下来看播的这个讲记里面，你们看后面就说，下面我们再以力量来说明三项。这里说身是无常，以所作性故，如油灯。就是这个，大家看到了没有？你再往下看一点点就可以。身是无常，以所作性故，如油灯。就是这个。那在这里呢，你看身是什么呢？我们就是讨论的主题，就是身。身就是我们人讲话的声音也好，那个流水的声音也好，大自然制造的任何声音，就是包括了这个身。就是身。说身是无常。无常什么呢？无常就是我们的观点，我们的见解，我觉得身就是无常。那你的理由是什么呢？因为所作性故，因为它是造作的，不管是你人讲话的声音也好，大自然的声音也好，它都是造作的，它是由因缘制造出来的一种声音。说它的理由就是因为它是制造出来的东西，所以它是无常。举的例子是如油灯就像这个油灯一样的它是无常法这样。
So here, Kenshin used another example, the actual example, substances as an example. So sound. So trying to establish the proposition that sound is impermanent, and the reason is because it is fabricated. It is a compounded phenomenon, and the example given is a butter lamp, right? So butter lamp was made into a butter lamp, so it's a compounded phenomena. It's fabricated, therefore it's impermanent.
OK， 那这里我们怎么样来观察这个三项具不具备呢？首先你要看这个第一项是因，这里的因是什么？就是所作性故。那你要看一下，一方面是所作性的，就是制造出来的东西；一方面又是常法，有没有这样的一个东西？完全没有，找不到一个也是所作性的，也是常法的，我们找不到。所以只要是所作性的，一定是无常。所以第一项因就成立了你根本如果是你如果是找得到一个也是所作性的就是制造的这个东西，然后呢也是常法的话，那这个第一项因就不成立了，因为它就是假因了，它就是不成立了。但是呢我们没有办法找到又是所作性的，然后呢又是常法，我们找不到。在这个 整个世界里面我们找不到一个这样的东西，所以第一项因就成立了。
So let's look at this example using three mode of reasoning and see whether they can stand to the test of the reasoning. First, when you look at the justification, right, now you're claiming that all compounded phenomena is impermanent in nature. So looking for any possible existing example of what's fabricated and stays permanent. If you can find an actual example to argue with the proposition, then the first justification would not stand. But the point is you cannot find any fabricated substances that will stay permanent. So then that will make the first proposition. Well, that will make the proposition a valid argument.
然后第二项同品周边，若是所作性的法，则便是无常，如油灯。这里举的例子就是油灯。如果是我们可以找到一个，又是所作性的法，然后呢又是非无常的法，那这样的话，第二项也没有办法成立了，因为这里第二项成立就是这个第一项应该是对，凡是所作性的法，
第一项你只是在建立那个
无常
理由嘛？
理由对。然后第二项的话，它就是无常，要成立这个无常法，就是无常，你也有一个所作性的，然后呢也是非无常的法，如果是能够找得到这样的话，那就第二项就没有办法成立了。但是我们找不到所以如果我们能够找到一个既是所作性也是非无常，也就是常法，则第二项不成立。然而这样的法找不到，所以第二项同品周边也成立这样。
So correction, the first mode of reasoning is just establishing that justification. All that is fabricated is impermanent in nature. So that is the justification of the proposition. So then moving on to the second mode of reasoning, inference by affirming. So if you are, we're asserting all compounded phenomena, all that's fabricated is impermanent in nature. So in order to make this argument a valid one, you want to find something that's how do I say? So fabricated but stays permanent. So you want to find an example to argue with the proposition or the justification you just established. So if you can find any example that's something that's being fabricated, however they will remain permanent, then that will make the second mode of reasoning invalid. However, we cannot find such a thing. Therefore, we have now established the validity through the second mode of reasoning.
然后第三项就是异品周边，若是非无常，则便是非所作性这里就是讲了，若是非无常，则便是非所作性，这就是异品周边。所以我们如果是上面的也是无常的法，然后呢就是也是非所作性的话，这样就是不成立了。但是呢，这个长面的也是无常的法，也是所作性，这成立的时候呢，它第三项就是自然就成立了，因为只要是非无常的法，它就是非所作性的，这就成立了，这就是异品周边这样。这里说第二项成立的话，第三项就成立了，但是第三项成立不一定第二项成立。
So, applying the third mode of reasoning, you want to establish what is permanent is not fabricated, right? So, if you can find something that's permanent, then it must not be fabricated, because you already established during the second mode of reasoning that that which is fabricated is impermanent. So here, using the negation to further inference your argument, then that means that what's permanent may not be fabricated, right? So if you establish the second mode, then here in this case, the third mode also has been established. And it's also because of the fact that these two are relative concept. They're taking relative stance. So when the second mode of reasoning becomes valid, then the third mode is also valid, but not the other way around.
所以呢，在这里呢，就有一个重点，就是比如说我们第一项的这个因，因的话，我们说身是无常，以所作性故。那我们观察这个所作性故是不是可以在这个身上面成立？如果是成立的话，它第一项因就成立了，因为没有一个身是不是所作性的。这样去观察。然后第二项观察的时候呢，我们说所作性故，就是是不是所有的所作性故都是无常的？如果是有些是无常的法，但是不是所作性的，或者是有些是所作性的，不是无常的，那这样第二项也不成立。所以呢，你就要观察所作性故是不是在这个无常上面成立。这两个成立了以后，然后第三品就成立了。第三品就是非所作性故，非无常，这就成立了。简单的讲的话就是这样。
So again, just to recap with a simplified explanation. First, we want to justify, all that's fabricated is impermanent. So, sound, the justification that's being established is that, all that's fabricated is impermanent, right? So, if you can prove that sound is fabricated, or sound is a compounded phenomena, then that makes the justification a valid one. And moving on to the second step of reasoning, when you consider all compounded phenomena, you want to look at the proof for whether they're impermanent or permanent, right? If you can prove that they stays impermanent, then that will establish the reasoning or make the second step of reasoning a valid one. And then the third step would be the negation of it. So the uncompounded phenomena being permanent, right? If you can establish, because from the second we already established all compounded phenomena is impermanent in nature, then you want to use the negation of it, which is the uncompounded phenomena is permanent. So when that's established, then all three modes of reasoning becomes complete and valid.
所以这一段的话呢，我们要请大家要仔细的、重复的多看几遍，重复的多看几遍的话，你们才可以。如果是新的，以前没有学过中观的人的话，必须要多看几遍，你才可以懂到。如果是已经学过中观知道的话，那这个推理的话，也许就对你们不会很难。但是刚开始的时候呢，这个推理是可能比较难懂，所以呢，就是多看几遍，你就是他这个推理的方法，你懂了以后就容易了。
I would urge all of you to read through the explanation repeatedly until you fully understand the way of reasoning. I know many of you have not learned about Madhyamaka before, so this can be a very difficult subject to you. So at this stage, knowing how the reasoning is made and in the context of Madhyamaka is very, very important to your learning for the future. So if you are able to get a better grasp of the idea, the method, the way of reasoning, then it will help you a lot in the future when we're pursuing this subject.
这个是思维逻辑，这是在我们的意识的层面。如果大家努力一点，多看一点，就是可以想得通的，可以知道的，就不像大圆满的见解。就是要依靠上师的加持，然后自己的福报各方面才能够证悟的，不像这样的。这个是我们是意识的层面的一个逻辑推理方法。所以呢，这个大家如果是真正的静下心来，好好的去思维的话，这个是完全可以就是通达了解的。
And what you will be utilizing in this type of learning is to engage your mental ability. So you would do a lot of thinking, reflecting on the subject matter. And this is unlike Dzogchen practices, because in that practice, what you need is the blessing from your guru and your own level of virtue in order to attain realization. For this type of learning, you just have to engage your mental capability. So, really find a space and time to really calm down yourself and just absorb yourselves with this learning. Then you will get it, and this will help you greatly in the future.
那今天就讲到这里。
So we will stop here today.